Newcastle boy, moved to Sydney when I was 21. Played for Randwick Petersham. Played alongside, Caddo, Usman, Horry. Within 6 games, I got picked for a one-day game. I was 12th man, and I debuted just after Christmas within my first year, and then got a contract. And then that following year, I was leading wicket taker for New South Wales. Had a breakthrough year. Found my straps and felt really good, and basically my downhill journey started that following year. And it's a funny thing to reflect upon my journey, that it was all going really well and life was pretty good, and then all of a sudden it was just the rug was taken under my feet, and the next 3 years it was just one hell of a battle. I went to the IPL. I went to the Australia A Tour, and I didn't play. I had a bulging disc in my back, so I didn't get to play. I came home and had to change my action. Came back, I got fully fit again, and was called into the Australian one-day team in India. Brett Lee had hurt his elbow, I think, and I got called up, and it was amazing. It came out of nowhere. Total surprise. It was awesome just to be around the guys and the Australian setup, and just to be in that whole, that little bubble. It was amazing, and I was on the team sheet to play, and I'm on the bus ready to leave, and monsoon hit and game was cancelled, and it was a little bit. It's funny looking back that it was that close, and went home, stress fracture in my back, my first game back, and basically for the next 2 years it was just one injury after another and a battle. So came back from my back injury, changed my action again, more battles, and it was a really frustrating time. From that, doing so well, my first year with New South Wales and getting all those wickets and having success, being picked in the teams and feeling I'm not far away and that I can hold my own at this level was a nice feeling. I was confident that I could compete, but then to be that close, in the Australian one-day team and nearly debut, to then have the next nearly 3 years not playing and being able to fight for my spot. I was just basically rehabbing in the gym, trying to get fit again, refining my action, and it was just, if anything, it was a mental battle, and it just was building up over time. And looking back and reflecting upon it, it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through, and my downward spiral, looking back, was, for me, I was, without knowing at the time, I had depression and struggled. At the time I didn't realise what was going on and didn't talk, just bottled everything up inside, and I'd go to training and that was my outlet. And the best thing that happened, by far, was when I hurt my knee, because it made me let go of cricket. And if that didn't happen, I'm not sure what the journey would have been after that, but it made me let go of cricket, and it was good. And I was lucky enough, I still had 2 years on contract, so I made the most of that. I made the most of the educational grants, kept studying, kept putting things in place. At the time, I wasn't sure where I was going to end up with cricket. Deep down, I still wanted to play. And, going forward, it was just like 1 week at a time. And for a year, it was like, right, where am I at this week? How's my knee feeling? How am I bowling this week? And just kept progressing, and things started to feel really good. And lucky enough, I got back to bowling and playing grade cricket, and I kept building from that.
No, I had a pretty tough run of it over the last few years in New South Wales with some injuries, and personally I just needed a new start and a new environment, and came to the conclusion that taking the move over to the west was best for me, and I've really enjoyed it. Playing for Midland Guildford out in eastern Perth, which is a great club. They've been really good to me. I'm loving it. Body's felt the best it has in years, which is nice, and I'm hoping to have a big year.
I thought, right, if I can get to a stage where I can come off my full run, bowl well, I'll keep going and keep seeing, if I can get back to first-class cricket. And lucky enough, I did, and I'm glad I kept at it and kept trying and trained my ass off, and it all paid off, and I got back. And it's one thing I can hold my head up high, is that I got through that tough time. And when I moved to WA and worked into the team, I played my first class game in what must have been 3.5 years. The person I was when I first debuted for New South Wales to that moment in WA when I got called into the team, I was a totally different person, totally different outlook on life. totally different feeling. I wasn't nervous. You know, didn't have the same anxieties. I didn't have the same, pressures on myself. It was just like, I'm so lucky to be here playing, and how fortunate I am that I've gone through this experience. I've had to rebuild my career, rebuild my body, basically re-earn my spot. Yeah, it's nice to reflect back on that.